Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with business leaders from all over the world who are here sharing their wisdom and experiences so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, where we help businesses scale revenue through outside the box visibility strategies. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're excited to have you. You're in for a real treat with my guest today. And please stay to the end because we have a special gift for you. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Lisa Doehnert with Ease Learning. So welcome, Lisa, to the podcast.
Thank you, Heidi. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. So Lisa, can you start us off with telling us a little bit about you, Ease Learning, and your role within the company?
Sure. So I have been in EdTech product development for about 20 years now. And my most recent role, I'm a business development director with Ease Learning. So I've taken an interesting path to get here. I started working with Teach for America in their communications office at one of the institutes where they train teachers. And that's where I fell in love with just connecting with people and communicating and working with mission-driven companies. So I spent some time with TFA, and then I pivoted into the educational publishing industry. And that's where I used what I learned at Teach for America to kind of get into communications in the education world. So in different roles over the years, I worked in the K-12 space, and about 15 years ago, I started working on adult learning space, and that's where I've maintained my role. So very familiar with the needs of adult learners, how we reach them, and I did many years in operations before taking this role where I'm actually helping solve the large project-based challenges that institutions face, publishers face, anyone who is working on upskilling or reskilling adults. And what are the challenges to that, and how can Ease Learning support that? So in my current role with Ease Learning, we take on lots of interesting problems that we're helping people solve in different sectors, not just higher ed, workforce development, corporate, in actual like training settings. So it's really interesting, and I love the work we do. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into, and you just shared with us that you are basically support in overcoming challenges that you're seeing in that space. So can you share with us what are some of the challenges in scaling up learning design work without sacrifice quality or learner engagement?
Well, there are many. I think that one of the biggest challenges is just getting all the stakeholders aligned on what that challenge is and how you tackle it. What we're typically dealing with are we're working directly with faculty or directly with subject matter experts. And so they're coming into their course design with like a list of content that they want to include. But our approach is to help them think about the outcomes first. What are the students trying, what do they need to learn? What are the skills they need to gain? And we start there. That's our backwards design process. So that's how we ensure by getting that up front that we're able to create a blueprint essentially for how to get this work done. And then we're also every step of the way bringing the faculty or the subject matter experts through the process. We take a very humble approach. We're working with world-class faculty, people who are experts in their fields. And, we're not going to pretend that we're the content expert. While we do have a network of content experts, our learning designers are learning science experts. So we're there to help them navigate the science of adult learning while they're bringing the subject matter expertise. So that is how we scale. We're one half of the whole. They're bringing the other half that's super important to the actual program design or course design.
And with so many organizations struggling with skills gaps, how do you measure or validate that a learning program is actually closing the gap from your perspective?
So we help with setting up that system. We're a service provider, so we're not pushing a specific technology or platform. We're agnostic when it comes to the technology, and that's the great thing about my team is that they are well versed in a whole plethora of technology. So when we can do that backwards design process and really work through what are the skills we need to build, what are those outcomes, when we start with that backwards design, we're able to use that as the map for measuring. So one of the questions we ask in the beginning when we're working with faculty and program directors and staff directors is, okay, so how this is the skill they need. What do they need to show? What is the thing that they have to produce? What do they need to prove that they can do? And then we design how we're going to measure that. Sometimes the company already has the technology and we're just optimizing like what pieces are connected in to the program. Other times we might be suggesting things that they could add on to use to better measure these skills. But yeah, it's essentially, it all comes down to starting with the end in mind and building that way.
So you all, or Ease, offers staff augmentation through a large pool of content developers.
Mhm.
How do you ensure consistency and alignment and the quality when working with many different contributors?
Well, I think before I answer that question, it's probably important to understand how and why we even have this pool of contributors. So we recently went through a merger with Freedom Learning Group. So this happened in January of 2024. Ease Learning had been in the business for 20 years, providing skills-based learning solutions primarily in higher education, but also to corporate and workforce. And Freedom Learning Group was founded, believe it was 2017, by a former Marine with the idea of providing opportunities in the educational content development space to military spouses and transitioning vets. He had noticed that many of this talent pool was underemployed because of their situations, but they were highly, highly skilled. So we're talking PhDs in chemistry, many years of experience, lots of cybersecurity experts, pilots, all sorts of folks who just weren't able to work in their chosen field for various reasons. So the company was founded for that reason. And through that foundation, a huge network was amassed of folks who have these skills. So currently, we have a talent pool of more than 6,500 folks. This does include civilians, but it is primarily military spouses and transitioning vets. So I love that this is part of our story and mission now as a merged company. And we use this group to scale up and down for different customers' needs. So earlier when I was talking about how we work in course design, we're working with the school faculty or with staff at organizations. Sometimes there are bandwidth challenges and they don't have the time to build a new program or to design a really interesting interactive learning based scenario. And so they're relying on this outsourced subject matter expertise. And that's where we can pull in the talent from our pool. So we've been offering a lot of different opportunities to this talent pool based on what the market needs are. Sometimes that is not related to content development. Sometimes we're helping place like advisors and even adjunct faculty or other any roles that can be done remotely can be done by our Freedom Talent pool. So we vet them as the opportunities come up. So because we have this great database, we can find and source based on specific experience and skills requirements. And then we work with our customers based on their particular needs and expectations and hiring process to select the right person when we're doing a staff augmentation engagement. So that's how they come in on the staff aug side, but we also use them on other types of on learning design projects where we just need to support the faculty. In addition to sometimes using AI, but it's great that we have this amazing talent pool and this mission.
I love that. And I love that that's part of your story now too. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's an important piece to for people to know. And I think it's amazing that you're utilizing the skills of the veterans and the spouses and everything that were, challenged when coming back into civilian life. So you mentioned AI, Lisa. So let's go there. So how are you seeing AI and newer technologies influence or change the way learning content is created, delivered, and evaluated?
Oh, I think the easier answer is how are we not seeing it change everything? I mean, It is the buzzword. It is the thing that's being used. It's my best friend in business development to support my needs. But when it comes to our product and course design, we have to take a very transparent approach to using it because we have customers with a lot of different interests in it. Some of them are very hesitant to use AI. Some of them are trying their own things, particularly publishers, because of all of the legal, like unknown area when using AI. But our approach is always a human in the loop. So whenever we're using it to support our processes, there is going to be a human in the loop. We're never just pulling something out of ChatGPT and shooting it over to a customer. That is just not, that's not our style. It's not going to happen. And we're also not going to use it without our customer's permission. So I think those, at least in the ed tech space, it's really important to have that transparency with your customers, especially when we're in a market where it's kind of a race to the bottom when it comes to pricing. Everybody wants things faster, better, cheaper. And so we have to use AI in order to get there. But you're going to lose, we want to maintain our integrity through this process. And so by being transparent, making sure they understand how we're using it and when we're using it in the process, it's faculty has welcomed the use when it means saving them time and when we're explaining, hey, we're 2 weeks late with waiting for this thing from you. Our learning designer ran the ideas through this ChatGPT, and here is like a draft to start with. And that they're usually thankful for that sort of proactive approach. And then they're still the expert. They're still signing off on what the final thing is. So usually we're using it as that way to unblock schedules and writer's block and not necessarily as the end all be all. But another way that our team has been using it is by making custom GPTs for projects, which has been really exciting to see. Every customer has a different approach and framework when it comes to what their courses need to include and look like. And so we can tweak these custom GPTs to help our team just operate more efficiently and more smoothly and get the faculty to, be able to meet these crazy schedules that they're being asked to meet.
Yeah, I really intrigued and love that you just shared that you use it to basically like move them forward, move your
Mhm.
clients forward and the faculty forward. Because yes, you have the things that, and we see it with our clients too. We have these things that we need deliverables we need to meet for the clients, but they are busy doing what they're doing. That's why they hired us, like, right, to take that
Mhm.
piece off their plate. But we need them in order to fulfill what we need from them in order to get that job done. So I love that you all are like, okay, we need this from you, but let's see how we can support you in getting that faster and get those wheels turning. Because like you
Mhm.
shared, they're the experts, they're the ones sharing the final, information. But you running it through Chat GPT just to kind of get their wheels turning and give them something that takes that initial startup off the plate. Because I think
Mhm.
sometimes for many people, especially you know, the clients you're dealing with, they've got, like you said, they've got a lot going on. They've got crazy deadlines they're meeting, not only with you. I'm not saying your deadlines are crazy, just saying they have deadlines with you, but they also have crazy deadlines that they're working on in their world too. And to kind of like give them something, go here's a jump board, right? A springboard that will help you launch. I mean, I think that I just feel me thinking about it, if somebody was to hand me that, like I can do it like I do it myself, but they're so
Yeah.
busy doing other things because I'm in the same space as you. We have clients, we use AI to help get them moving forward faster, but a lot of our clients don't do that as much as we do it in our space, just like you. And I think it's fantastic that you're utilizing it in that way and also being integrity and open about it. Like, hey, we ran this through AI. We ran this through ChatGPT. Hopefully this will help you get started so we can help you meet the deadlines that we need to support you and what you brought us on for.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, making sure that we're transparent before we do that because it is really important that we're using these closed systems so that we're not exposing any, pre-published data into, the training models. And then like we want to still be really protective of our customers' intellectual property. So
Right.
making sure that we're using those closed systems, that's a must. So we have our own instance that we use at Ease Learning of a closed GPT. And some of our clients have their own, and then we can kind of jump in on theirs if they're ahead of the game. But I do want to say that, 9 times out of 10, our customers are coming to us because they have a challenge with schedule and budget. So we kind of already know these are the challenges that we're going to deal with. I mean, if everything was going smoothly, they may or may not need our help. And so our ideal customer is the one that's like, we've got all these programs, they're not online yet, or we've got this new law coming up in spring that is requiring all public institutions to be WCAG 2.0. I hope I got that one right. I'm not the content expert, but compatible. And so making sure that they've just got thousands and thousands of files that have to be updated by a certain time. And they need hands to do that. And so that's where they come to us to help them scale and help them move their schedules along.
So let's talk about like some more challenges. So what mistakes do some of your clients, do you see clients that commonly make when investing in online learning? And how can they avoid those pitfalls?
Oh, that's a good question. Mistakes that they make. I think assuming the only mistake is really assuming something about us before talking to us because we see ourselves as change agents. We're more than an order taker with our customers. So I know especially folks who are used to working with maybe offshore vendors where they're like, I need this like this, can you make it? Well, we can, but you're not using our true capabilities and expertise when we do it that way. So we've actually been a lot of the I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but it's a misstep. It's that they want to build a course, but they haven't figured out how they're going to reach their actual end users. So they haven't selected a learning management system. So it is a process that we can take on, and we have a bunch of times built a course without knowing the end system it's going into. We call that our LMS agnostic course builds. But the LMS is a huge decision for any organization for training purposes. And a lot of folks that we've at least seen recently come to us before they've made that decision, or they're kind of jumping too far ahead in the development process. So we want to help them learn what questions to ask. So usually we'll kind of walk ourselves back in the process instead of just being eager to close a deal. It's like, all right, here, let us help you get the most out of your engagement with us. So we're not an LMS provider, but we know a bunch. We can recommend some, we partner with some, and we can help you make this decision. So we end up then taking it from an opportunity that was maybe an immediate, like huge scale course development to like, no, let's start with consulting and frameworks so that you can make the right decision. So you don't end up in these cycles and then just be disappointed in the fact that, why we don't want to nickel and dime our customers. And so that's one of the bigger missteps that I've seen, at least in 2025.
I'd love to pivot a little and talk about your growth with ease learning or the growth of ease learning. What have, if let me know if this isn't your space, but what challenges have you have seen with ease learning as far as the growth of the company? Like how long have you got all been in business, and what challenges have you seen, and how have you all overcome them?
Yeah. Well, as you might imagine, the COVID era was a huge boom for our industry in general. And it was at that point in time, I wasn't at ease, but I had heard about this like golden era of online learning because now suddenly we're at the forefront. Everybody needed online learning and they needed it fast. So we went from that era into now where the bigger challenges are the funding in the market and with the changes in administration that lead to these different challenges, and folks are maybe more hesitant to sign a deal and make a decision about their outsourced spending. So the deals are taking longer to close because of that. So we kind of went from this like amazing boom, yay, everyone needs online learning, to now it's like, okay, we've got all this online learning. It's not optimized. It's not following learning science principles or universal design for learning. And they need to make these changes, but they're hesitant to, write a check to do that. So I think those are our challenges now. One of the best ways that we've been tackling this is through market diversification. So we have been making a pivot from focusing exclusively on the higher ed space to working in different markets. So I've been researching a lot of different different groups that provide training needs and upskilling. So this is, not just, your formal higher education programs, but there's also groups that do continuing education and professional development. They're all putting out offerings, and they might not have the same challenges that an institution, a public institution might have right now with making decisions. We're also operating in the workforce development space and with corporate providers. So we're kind of trying to tell those repurpose stories of like a customer we had here and there in the past to then grow into these other markets so that our portfolio is more diversified, and it's not just like we're relying on the state of higher education to change to meet the needs. So that's one strategy that has been working well, slowly but surely, and just making those connections and breaking into those new markets.
And what's next for you all? So what are the big goals for, say, the next 12 months for you guys?
Well, in the next 12 months, we're certainly hoping to exceed our revenue target. So we're private equity owned, and I'm not sure if you or your listeners are familiar with Achieve Partners, but they invest in companies like us who are focused on closing the skills gaps in the market and on those socioeconomic growth and betterment opportunities. So we're lucky to be a part of that portfolio, and our goal in the next 12 months is to really exceed our projections. So we are looking to expand at our senior level team and define that strategy. We're in a strategy setting phase right now. Lots of conferences we'll be attending to keep our name out there and to meet other folks, but even our conference strategy diversified too. So we're going to some new places that people don't know us. So that's really the main goal. And personally, with Ease Learning, I'd love to see us continue to grow these opportunities for our Freedom Talent Network that did slow down a bit in the past year with the people withholding the check writing. So really hoping to get back to providing opportunities to that group.
So our conferences, you mentioned conferences. Is that one of the number one ways that you're getting seen? Like, how are you being seen
Yeah.
from your ideal client? One, who are they? I know we talked about the adult education space and things like that, but specifically, like, can you go deeper into who that is? And then how are you being seen? How are you standing? Because I'm sure you're not the only player in the game. So how are you standing out from maybe some of your competitors on getting in front of them and being top of mind?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, well, I think we're still a relatively small company despite having the giant network that we have. And so the business development team, there are two of us, and our strategy currently, since we're kind of in between marketing team members. So we have to take on we wear many hats as the BD team. And so we're marketing, and we're doubling down on our conference efforts in order to really get in front of people, because that's the quickest way to shorten the deal timeline, is to get in front of people. Otherwise, we could be doing lots of cold outreach and marketing, but it's all still cold. And, people, I always say you can't walk away from me when I'm in the elevator with you. Like, that is the best way to meet people is in person. So, conferences, we've been looking at not just higher ed conferences, but also the Association for Talent Development and other groups that serve like the corporate learning space, and tech conferences where people are buying tools, but they might need that white glove service that we would provide in using those tools. So that kind of developing those channel partnerships at conferences, as well as finding our ideal customer, is there's probably five ideal customers. I mean, just thinking about how we're diversifying. So typically, we're working with program directors or school deans. They're the ones that, are signing off on new program launches or redevelopments. But also, those channel partnerships have been really big for us. So, LMS providers or new online learning tool providers, that they have customers who are building learning design, but those are maybe the faculty directly or the subject matter experts directly, and they still need the other half of the puzzle I was talking about. They need the learning designer that has that adult learning expertise and the skill set to work in these tools. So those are two of our ideal customer types that we've been chasing, for lack of a better word.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I only have a couple more questions and I'll let you go, Lisa. But if I could give you a magic wand and you can wave it over one challenge that you're having right now and go poof, and it goes away, what would that challenge be and why?
Um, I would say it would be the challenge of speaking the same language. So in our market diversification strategy, our services are not changing at all. We're doing the same thing, but we have to talk about it differently with different people. Some people they know the term instructional design, but not learning design, or they conflate it with curriculum development, which isn't necessarily the same as applying universal design for learning principles. So there's so much tweaking we have to do with our language to get our target customers in a certain space to understand what we do. And that's going to, cause a huge challenge in new customer acquisition. If they don't immediately know what you're saying or know how you solve their problem or see themselves on your website, that's going to turn them off, especially with the cold outreach. So I would love to be able to wave a magic wand and make it so we all speak in, ones and zeros. So that it's just equivalent. But otherwise, this is an area where we've had to leverage our friend ChatGPT a lot to like help us tweak language to speak to the right the whatever language the customer is speaking. And I'm using the word language very broadly. I don't mean Spanish to English. I mean just like the actual words that we're using to talk about our services.
No, I hear you. And there's a lot of businesses, a lot of people listening right now that are feeling the same way as you're sharing. So you're speaking their language for
Yeah.
sure. And as a mom with teenagers, I hear you and I feel the pain. Like just trying to like with the new words they have, I need a whole new
Oh, yes.
right just to keep up with that. So that was a group like that hits us on all levels, Lisa. Um, so my last question for you is if I could bring you back, if we could revisit this conversation in 12 months and bring you back in a year, what does success look like for ease learning?
I think success is going to look like repeat customers and happy customers. I would love to come back and have like 50 testimonials to share from just customers who have been so pleased with working with our learning designers and with the outcome of their products, and even hearing from the learner's perspective. So that's something we don't always get because we're removed from the end user when we're working with the company or the institution. So I think success would really be just happy repeat customers that are talking about us. I would love to see that.
Amazing. So can you share with us, Lisa, how people can connect with you, learn more about ease learning?
Sure. Well, you can go to our website, easelearning.com. My email is ldaynert@easelearning.com. I'm sure you'll share that. Or on LinkedIn, Lisa Doehnert. My name does not sound like it's spelled, so we'll have to definitely share that out.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I will be at lots of conferences and events this fall too. So actually, by the time this comes out, I'll be in a new conference schedule. So we'll have to check back and see what our spring conferences are. I'd love to continue this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will, as Lisa said, we are going to share all of our contact information in the show notes. So we've got you covered there. So if you're driving or you want to go, you're listening and you can go grab them, it's in the show notes. Make sure you connect with her. Go check out Ease Learning and learn more about what they do. And I love what they're doing. I love what you're doing with veterans. I think that's amazing. And that I love that that's part of your journey and your mission. So I really appreciate you sharing that. I think it's spectacular. And I might have to connect with you with someone. I love
Great.
connecting people. So I have someone I might connect you with if I talk with you and it's a fit. But for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Lisa and I appreciate it. Feel free to drop a comment for her below. Let her know you heard us here. And please share this episode out. If you know of somebody that would benefit from learning more about Ease Learning and talking with Lisa, please share it. This is how we're helping businesses, grow. She's spending time with us today to support you in your growth, and we love to give back. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, thank you so much. If you see an area where you can leave a review and you can hit those 5 stars, we would greatly appreciate it, as well as leave a comment. That allows the platform to share the podcast with more people. The goal of this podcast is for more businesses to grow and thrive, because we see that too many businesses close within the first 5 years. We really want to flip that number. And our guests that come on the show, like Lisa, are helping us on that mission. So we'd appreciate your support in helping them and supporting them as well. I promised y'all a gift, so here it is. If you are looking to grow your visibility and get in front of your ideal client in a different way than what you're doing now, say you're trying things and it's not working, Lisa shared what's been working for them. Feel free to go download our Spotlight to Scale blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint and grab it there. It's free. Lisa, before I let you go, is there anything that you'd like to share that I didn't ask you or we didn't touch on today?
I think we touched on so many things. So thank you so much for inviting me today. And yeah, I'd love to connect with folks who are either interested in joining our talent pool. So other military spouses, veterans, or even civilians with particular expertise that are looking for very niche education opportunities, but also, potential customers or colleagues who would like to network. So thank you so much, Heidi.
You're welcome. And thank you for your time. I'm really grateful and appreciative. Reach out to Lisa. Go to easelearning.com. That's it, right, Lisa? Easelearning.com. I have it right. Perfect. And we'll have all Lisa's information, her bio, all the good things inside the show notes. So make sure you connect. Thank you for listening to us today on the Business Growth Spotlight. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.